Welcome to Left Off the Map. Today is Taco Tuesday and we're going to do a grilled beef taco. This is a really healthy, flavour-packed recipe. I absolutely love it. Full of herbs. It's going to have a chimichurri sauce, lots of fresh ingredients. It's just like the perfect lunch. To get started, the best thing to do is season your steak. If you can get some salt and pepper in early, the salt goes into the meat and you'll get that much more flavour later on. If you can leave your meat sitting out of the fridge for half an hour or so before you start cooking, even better. That way, when you actually cook it, you're gonna have a beautiful caramelisation on the outside without having it raw in the middle. I'm using a porterhouse fillet today. It's a really flavoursome cut of meat, and it's also quite lean, so it's gonna keep to that sort of healthy theme. Bit of pepper. All right. Nice. So now I've seasoned the meat, I can just set that aside. So to make my chimichurri sauce, I'm going to simply process some coriander, parsley, chilli, oregano, and I've got some red wine vinegar as well. We're going to put that in the food processor, whiz it all together, and we'll have an absolutely flavour-packed little sauce. I've blended all my ingredients together. I've got some garlic in there as well. Now, we're going to use a little bit of mustard as an emulsifier because at the moment the oil will separate away. The mustard will allow it to maintain its consistency after it's been sitting for a while. And it's another big flavour. In she goes. Beautiful. Okay. All right, so I've put the mustard into our mixture and now I've got a beautiful smooth consistency. That's ready to go, so I'll put that in a bowl and we can get started with the rest of our taco. This is a ripping little machine. Just put your stuff in, whiz it up. Nice and small. That looks so good. The smell is amazing. Ooh, it's like fresh and just hits you in the face, flat out. We want to do the porterhouse next because after we've cooked it, we want to let it rest. So really important to let your steak have 5 or 10 minutes after you've cooked it, just to, for the proteins to unwind. It'll be a lot more tender, all those juices will stay in there. So you need a hot grill pan. You want to cook it sort of high heat, get a nice caramelisation on the outside of the steak. It'll give heaps of extra flavour. All right, so I've cooked my steaks, they're resting. So I've got some lettuce, avocado, cherry tomatoes, lots of different colours. It'll look good. And then we dress up a tortilla and we're good to go. All right, so a bit of iceberg lettuce. You can use whatever you like. I just love the crunch out of a bit of iceberg. I've actually got some awesome lettuce growing in the garden at the moment. I've like 3 or 4 different varieties and they're just flying. And it's really good to be able to have it fresh. It's just anything you can just pick. I can go out and pick my lunch every day and you pick a lettuce leaf or 2 and you can have your lunch fresh as, super crunchy, the flavour's better, and your lettuce just keeps growing. So it's definitely something to whack in the garden if you get the opportunity. Alrighty, so we just delicately spoon this out. Nice little cherry tomatoes. A little bit of sweetness goes a long way. Cherry tomatoes are great because you can access them all year round. They're grown in hothouses, so they're a great fresh ingredient to get any time. The capsicum's going to add a nice crunch and also another layer of sweetness to the taco. All right, that's all my fresh ingredients cut. Now for the fun bit. Cutting the steak. It's just so satisfying. It smells great. It's been resting for about probably 10 minutes now. So we wouldn't want to leave it too much longer. And this should be really, really juicy and flavoursome. Medium rare for steak. If you've got a higher fat content with a Wagyu or something like that, you might be able to afford to go on medium. A little bit more fat in the meat lets you cook it a bit more. With a lean cut like a porterhouse, I love it rare or medium rare. Okay, I'm ready to plate up. I'm gonna get my tortilla, whack all my fresh ingredients on there, on with the meat, and finish off with my chimichurri sauce. Taco Tuesday done. Cannot wait to tuck into that. We're going to check out what Ben's been up to, and after that, he's going to show you his take on Mexican food.
Everyone's heard about tonic, and we've all had gin and tonics, and people make a lot of fuss about the quality of the gin that goes with the tonic, but I think it's more about the tonic. If you have a good tonic with a good gin, it takes it to a whole different level. What is tonic?
So there's a lot in that question. I'll start by saying, yes, I think I agree. We make fantastic gin, and there are some good tonics, but one really needs an excellent tonic to showcase the gin. What is tonic? Tonic is a beverage that is made from cinchona. Cinchona is the bark, quinine comes from the bark of a cinchona tree. So that bitter taste that you get when you drink tonic, that's actually the bark of the tree. So I won't tell you exactly what the recipe is in making our tonic, but by and large, you can't call a beverage a tonic unless it has quinine in it.
Right.
So we use a natural quinine in our tonic. Some commercial tonics you may be familiar with are translucent, they're clear. Our tonic is a dirty tonic because we keep the staining from the cinchona in our tonic.
Right.
Does that make it a good or a better tonic? In our opinion, it does. It makes it a more natural tonic. So when you're drinking fabulous gins with beautiful botanicals, the last thing you want to do is lose the flavour of those botanicals. So what is tonic? Tonic is a beverage that you can have on its own, but it's much better to have with gin. The oil compounds in a gin are opened by quinine. So if you drink a gin and soda, your gin is usually somewhat single layered. If you drink a gin and tonic, you should get lots of layering to the flavour profile in your gin because the oils in the quinine open up your gin.
That's so true. I've always thought that a really good tonic changes a gin completely, and now I know why. It's because it broadens those base flavours. And
Absolutely.
It takes a lot more complexity. I always thought it was the tonic, but it's the tonic opening up the gin that does that.
Correct. So when we talk about this range of tonics that we make, we deliberately set out to make a range, not a single tonic to go with all gins, but rather tonics that correspond with individual gin botanical profiles, because what we want to do is open up the specific profiles in each of the gin that you choose to drink. So we wouldn't want to open up a citrus profile on a savoury gin because you've chosen to drink a savoury gin, so we create a savoury tonic to go with that gin.
So you've got, there's four little bottles here.
Yes.
Which one goes with which? This is the smoked eucalyptus.
So you've picked up the what we call the most personality-driven tonic. So
Right.
that is the acquired taste in tonics. If you are a gin drinker that is not afraid of drinking gin that identifies as gin, so think of a triple juniper, or think of an oak-aged or a barrel-aged, commonly called bathtub or sailor-strength gins.
Yep.
A gin that really knows how to be a gin.
So this is a gin drinker's tonic.
Correct, and it is, for that very reason, what I call a chewy or a sexy gin and tonic. You get 3 distinct layers to that gin. So you'll get a smoke, a eucalypt, and the spine of your gin. And they come in 3 distinct hits. So the first hit will be eucalyptus that comes from blue gum eucalypt leaves that are in that particular tonic.
Yep.
The second, you should get the spine of that beautiful juniper or pepperberry. Tasmanian distillers use a lot of pepperberry in their gin as the middle palate. And the back palate is a really crisp smoke flavour that closes it all off. That one also is drunk here in Tassie. We have a lot of whiskey drinkers that make their ice blocks with a combination of our syrup and water, so that when the ice block is dissolving in the whiskey, they're not diluting their whiskey, but rather opening up that peat. Correct. So that's the smoked eucalypt. The next flavour profile, so we're going from the strongest down to the mildest of flavours. We've used a native Tasmanian leatherwood honey.
Normally a very strong flavour.
It is an earthy flavour. So again, not sweet, but earthy. So I should probably punctuate the entire conversation around these tonics by saying they're different in two ways. One, they're a syrup. They're not a ready-to-drink, open up, pour into your gin. It's a syrup. It's a concentrated quinine. 10 mils of syrup in 100 mils of soda water, topped with your favourite gin to make a perfect gin and tonic. In the case of a leatherwood, what we've chosen to do is not to work on a sweet honey, because we also believe that sugars kill gin. So we've gone for a more earthy honey in the natural leatherwood. We then pull all the citrus out of it. So all you're getting is leatherwood and quinine. That matches to fruit gins and floral gins, but also here in Tassie, a lot of the distillers work with quite saline groundwater. So if you can think what salted caramel does to food, leatherwood honey and salt do the same thing to gin. So you end up, if you think of a Dasher and Fisher Ocean that has that beautiful wakame sitting in it, if you pour our leatherwood tonic into that beautiful ocean gin, what you actually get is a full nose of salt on that gin, and you get a really lovely lingering back palate salt out of it as well.
I was going to ask which one would you have, because my favourite gin I've ever had anywhere is the Ocean, the Dasher and Fisher Ocean. So I was going to ask which one.
So that would be your tonic of choice. Correct.
Next.
So the next in the line is a beautiful native Tasmanian pepperberry. So we wanted to offer Tasmanians a savoury tonic to go with the beautiful savoury gin. So if you think of McHenry's Federation Gin or Mountain by Dasher and Fisher, you end up with a gin that has a really lovely savoury palate. If you use a sugary tonic on that, you lose the beauty of the pepperberry. So instead, we created a pepperberry tonic that's heavy on lemon and lime, so you still get the citrus that works well with that savoury, but you get a much better bite on the back palate that is the pepperberry that comes through. It also works on gins that have cinnamon, cardamom, star anise, clove, which are a lot of botanicals that mainland distillers are using, a lot more than Tasmanian distillers, although some of our distillers do work with those botanicals as well.
And with those last two very uniquely Tasmanian ingredients in pepperberry and leatherwood honey can only be found here.
Absolutely. It was important for us in creating a narrative around a local tonic to work with the ingredients that are native to this beautiful island. So Andrew makes all of our tonics. They're all still made by hand. And there's been a lot of time and a lot of effort gone into try and find the exact balance that doesn't throw the flavour in one direction or the other. We knew that the toughest critics would be distillers, so when Andrew first made the Mediterranean tonic and took it to a handful of distillers, it was only when they were happy with what we had made that we agreed to put it in a bottle and put our name and a label on it. So that you're holding in your hand as the classic Mediterranean is the distiller's choice. Tasmanians fall into then two categories, pepperberry or leatherwood drinkers. They either love leatherwood honey or they don't. If they don't love leatherwood honey, they tend to choose pepperberry. And really committed gin drinkers are over on our smoked eucalyptus.
Leatherwood does it really does split people down the middle.
Absolutely.
If you like it, you absolutely love it, and some people cannot stand it. So I get that. But you reckon for me, Ocean, this would be the one that I would go for?
It would absolutely be, as long as what you like about ocean gin is the saltiness.
It's the wakame.
So if it's the wakame in it that you love, so when we make a cocktail with it, we usually do 10 mils of leatherwood, 30 mils of ocean, 100 mils of soda, topped with a piece of wakame and a piece of radish on top of it. So what we're doing is opening up that entire salty profile, and the radish absolutely pops the salt.
Radish with salt. I used to eat radish and just put salt on it out in my backyard.
There you go. So you can leave with a bottle of that today and you can go home and enjoy it on your gin.
On this week's Old El Paso Taco Tuesday, we're looking at breakfast and doing a breakfast burrito, which is made really easy by these tortilla pockets. So basically put together what you would have in a normal breakfast and put it in your tortilla pocket. First thing I need to do though is get these prepared to take on my breakfast. So I don't have a microwave, so you can put them in the oven. Good how you can only open half if you want to, keep the others fresh. So on this side I've got 4.
Pop them in some foil. Wrap them up and into the oven. They'll be in there for about 8 minutes, which gives me just enough time to get everything else ready. So I'm doing an egg and bean breakfast burrito. So I need 3 eggs. And I'll probably need about half a cup of black beans, or probably half a tin of black beans. Now in with my eggs, I'm going to put a little bit of sour cream, probably half of what I've got here, so probably 2 tablespoons of sour cream. And the rest is actually going to go inside my burrito. Want to whisk all that up, pinch of salt. So basically I'm making a scrambled egg mixture here with some sour cream already through the egg mixture. Okay, pan can go on. So my eggs can go in. My black beans, I'm going to put some cheese in as well. An avocado, some tomato, some coriander and some garlic. So they're all the things that are going into my burrito. So my tomatoes, just top and tail. Don't need a lot of tomato, so just take a small amount, which I'll de-seed and dice. We'll just use the bottom and probably a quarter of our tomato. If you've got cherry tomatoes, throw some cherry tomatoes in there. And my bottom, from where I topped and tailed, now a lot of these ingredients aren't like the egg where I have to cook it out. They just want to be warmed through. So I'm not going to put them in straight away. I'm going to add them about halfway through the cooking process. So my scrambled egg is about done. It's probably, I've turned the heat off. Just the residual heat in the pan is going to cook it through. I want to warm through my other ingredients now. So my tomato, my cheese, so a couple of pinches of cheese, my black beans. Fold all that over. Warm through my cheese and my beans, my tomato. Okay. A little bit more cheese. My avocado I'm going to keep slices of. So I've just put slices of our avocado, cut slices into the flesh, take them out. My slices of avocado there. My mixture is pretty much done. All the things that I wanted to be warmed through are warmed through. My garlic, just a few slices of garlic. Just warm those through. You can see that cheese is doing exactly what I want it to do. It's sticking everything together. Coriander. So I'm going to cut a little bit of coriander. I'm going to put some coriander on top. We just want to roughly chop some, put into our mixture as well. Now that it's cooked, I'm going to add probably that other tablespoon of sour cream. Melt that in. This smells awesome. Pinch of salt. Tortilla pockets are ready. Nice and warm. Alrighty, so now you've got your little pocket, which is like your burrito, ready for your breakfast filling. Pop pop in my avocado slices. And then I can put my breakfast filling on top of that. Yum. Now that is a good breakfast. Push it in so we get all the way in there. Some coriander on top, a few more of those avocado slices, and that would be my breakfast burrito made in the pockets. So much easier than trying to fold your burrito. It can get messy, it falls out the bottom. This way, you've got everything contained in your burrito. It's pre-rolled and ready to go, ready to walk out the door and eat on your way to work or on your way to school or wherever you're going. So a little bit of a change up for Taco Tuesday. We've gone for the old El Paso breakfast burrito instead of the taco, but it's still unbelievably fresh and good Mexican at home.